Dames en here, die akademiese prosesie sal binnekort inbeweeg. U word versoek om asseblief op te staan.
Bomma le bontate, molokoloko wa dirutegi o tla tsena mo nakong e kopana. Le kgopelwa go ema. Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession will enter shortly. You're kindly requested to stand.
By the power vested in me, I hereby constitute this assembly as a legal congregation of the University of Pretoria. During this assembly, degrees and diplomas with all the associated rights and privileges will be conferred and awarded to the candidates whose names appear in the program. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we request that you join us in silent prayer or meditation to give thanks for the achievements of our students. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor Ferris. I'm the Vice Principal of the University of Pretoria. I extend a hearty word of welcome to you at this graduation ceremony. I want to acknowledge in particular the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Senkebuche, the Deputy Dean, Teaching and Learning, Professor Steenkamp, the Acting Deputy Dean, Research and Postgraduate Studies, Professor Dreyer, the Acting Dean, Deputy Dean, Stakeholder Relations, Professor Soma Pillay, the Deputy Director, Student Support, Mr. Matekane, Then also all chairpersons of schools, all heads of departments, all directors of centers and units, all emeriti, all honorary professors, and all of our lecturers and their partners. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the Student Representative Council member, Beatrice Mabena, who will present the SRC academic honorary colors. And then also I would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Desmond Matei, who is the President of the Health Professionals Council of South Africa. Then, of course, the reason we are all here, a special word of welcome to each and every one of you who will be receiving a degree or a diploma this afternoon. And then also to all of the spouses and parents and partners, family, friends that are here this afternoon to support the students who are graduating, please feel welcome. And finally, any dignitaries of whom we may not be aware of. Now, this is a special moment, and as you can see, it's a large graduation ceremony. We have here today all of the different schools of the Faculty of Health Sciences represented. Maybe not every single discipline within those schools, but they are all represented, and the school, students from the school will all receive a degree or a diploma this afternoon. And this is a significant milestone, both for the university, but also I think especially for those that are receiving a qualification today. Because each one of these qualifications represents dedication and sacrifice and time. But I think it also represents a responsibility to carry the values of the University of Pretoria with integrity, with excellence, and with purpose. It always warms my heart to see the large number of doctoral graduates. And to those of you in particular, I want to say you have expanded the frontiers of knowledge. As you know, a doctoral degree is not just a repetition of what already exists, but it is about contributing something new to your field. And you are here because you have done that. So we really want to acknowledge the fact that you have furthered the field that you are specializing in. To our master's graduates, you've deepened your expertise and sharpened your ability to analyze and solve complex challenges. And hopefully soon, you will also be wearing a red gown, and we look forward to that moment. To our honors and postgraduate diploma graduates, you have gained specialized skills that positions you as leaders in your field. To our undergraduate graduates, you have built the foundations of knowledge and professionalism to serve as the launchpad for your career. But all of you will leave today with a toolkit of intellectual, ethical, and collaborative skills that will make a difference in South Africa, but also in the world. Throughout the spring graduation, we will be conferring 2,107 qualifications, including 19 doctorate, 79 masters, and 2 honors degrees at today's ceremony. And of course, it's very important that this is a ceremony that celebrates the achievement of the Faculty of Health Science, because this faculty is defined by its mission, which is to improve health outcomes through education, through research, and through service. And your time here as graduates have prepared you for professions that demands technical excellence, ethical judgment, cultural sensitivity. And finally, collaboration. Collaboration between you and colleagues, but I think also collaboration between you and patients, or clients. What you've learned here is not only knowledge, but also the responsibility to use that knowledge that you have gained for the dignity and the well-being of others. I want to note that our Faculty of Health Science and the university as a whole stand proudly amongst the world's leading institutions. In the 2025 QS World Rankings, the university ranked 362nd globally and 26th worldwide in international research collaboration. The university is placed among the top 1.9% of universities worldwide and ranked third in both South Africa and Africa in the 2024 Web Metrics rankings. And these are not mere statistics. They affirm that your qualification carries international recognition and credibility. And that's important because it means that if you walk out here as a UP graduate, that you will be employable, whether it is in South Africa, on the continent, or globally. And your degree means that we have, and we will continue to uphold our side of what I would call a partnership. Because as of today, you are alumni of the university. And that means that we have formed a partnership. Our part of the partnership means that we have to ensure that the quality of your degree remains of the highest standard, whether it is today or whether it is 10 years from now. And that is our commitment to you. But this partnership also means that we as a university would want to draw on your insights and your leadership to strengthen our mission. We would like to see a beneficial exchange of knowledge, enabling insights to flow from the university to you and from you back to the university. And I also hope that this partnership will mean that as we as a university believe that we need to ensure that the country is in good hands, that you will also do your part to ensure that the country is in good hands. As a university, we are dedicated to upholding the quality of your education, as I've said. We are dedicated to upholding the relevance of your qualification, which means that we will continue to renew the curricula of this faculty. We are also dedicated to uphold the quality of integrity, and that's one area where I hope that I can also extend this call to you. Let the quality of your work reflect your training. Let the relevance of your service meet the needs of our people. May the integrity of your leadership embody the values of this university. And what does this call to action mean in practice? It means that whether you serve in a rural clinic, in an urban hospital, a research laboratory, a private practice, or in shaping policy, your actions must carry the weight of your training and the vision of this university. Your expertise will be valued wherever you are. And for that, I would like to congratulate you and wish you well on your path ahead. Thank you. I now request the Dean to introduce to me the candidates present whose names appear in the program.
Madam Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates from the School of Medicine.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Fatima Barmania, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled analysis of variants in host genes associated with COVID-19 outcomes in the African population, prepared under my supervision and with Professors Nikki Tiffin and Fourie Hubert as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate analyzed secondary whole genome sequence data using custom-built bioinformatics to investigate the presence and frequency of known COVID-19 host-associated genetic variants in African populations. The study revealed significant differences in allele frequencies between African and non-African populations, with many variants known to influence COVID-19 severity found at low or negligible frequencies in African data sets. This may explain to some extent the limited impact that COVID had relative to what had been anticipated. In addition, the candidate identified common variants unique to African individuals in genes linked to COVID-19 outcomes. Using computational tools, 43 high-impact variants were found, including novel African variants likely to affect gene regulation or protein function. These findings highlight the unique host genetic architecture of African populations, which is often underestimated, and suggest it may have influenced COVID-19 disease outcomes on the continent. This study offers one of the first population-specific assessments of COVID-19 related genetic variation in African cohorts, providing a valuable reference for future research in infectious disease and genomic medicine in Africa. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce you to Louise de Tooy, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Metabolic Alterations in HIV-Infected and Uninfected Mothers and Their Infants, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Ruan Low as co-supervisor. In the thesis, anthropometric, metabolomic, and transcriptomic data were utilized to investigate disparities between HIV-exposed uninfected and HIV-unexposed uninfected infants. Anthropometric analysis indicated suboptimal growth in HEU compared to HUU infants. Untargeted metabolomic profiling via proton nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy identified altered metabolites and metabolic pathways linked to impaired ketogenesis in mothers with HIV and reduced growth, along with increased immune activation and inflammation in HEU infants. MicroRNA sequencing revealed unique profiles in infants who were smaller at birth, with LED7 and MER 143, 192, and 378 associated with growth suppression, upregulated. HIV-exposed infants had downregulated MER 26. This microRNA is known to regulate immune and metabolic pathways, and its downregulation could potentially aid viruses in escaping from the immune system. This pioneering study recommends targeted interventions and increased monitoring for HEU infants to address potential health disparities in this vulnerable population. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Samantha Müller, who has complied with the requirement for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis title, Quantifying the Shape and Size of the Zygoma using Computed Tomography, Combined Computed Tomography Scans among global populations to contribute to zygomatic implant placement, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Labbé as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the candidate employed geometric morphometrics to investigate variation in zygoma shape and size across global populations. The study revealed significant population and sex-based differences influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. Sexual dimorphism was also shown to be associated with differences in muscle attachment, hormonal profiles, and maturation rates. Her findings provide valuable insights for advancing research on human variation in South Africa, enhancing the accuracy of facial reconstructions, and informing the design of medical prosthetics and zygomatic implants. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Sandra Tutcham, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled The Effects of Combining a Chemokine Receptor Antagonist, CTCE 9908, and kynurenine metabolites on cell viability and tumor adhesion in melanoma and endothelioma cell lines on a murine model. Prepared under my supervision, Dr. Yvette Klope as supervisor, Prof. Annie Hubert, Prof. Trevor Nyakuja, and Prof. Priyesh Bypath as co-supervisors, and Prof. Serem as a co-worker. The study explored the anti-proliferative and anti-metastatic effects of kynurenine metabolites, alkyne, quinolinic acid, and kyanuric acid in endothelioma and melanoma model. Alkyne demonstrated significant apoptosis-inducing effects in vitro, as shown by cell cycle arrest and Nixon V assays, with marked changes in morphology and decreased proliferation. Cell adhesion assays on fibronectin and collagen 4-coated plates revealed that alkyne and CTCE 9908, a CXCR4 inhibitor, selectively decreased adhesion in SN2 cells, implicating cancer-specific anti-metastatic response. In vivo, combining therapy significantly induced melanoma tumor growth and altered adhesion protein expression, notably increasing focal adhesion kinase and ECadherin, while decreasing paxillin and supporting reduced metastatic potential. ELISA in immunohistochemistry confirmed serum and tumor tissue changes in adhesion markers. The findings support the potential of CTC 9908 and alkyne as synergistic agents targeting metastasis in melanoma and endothelioma, with implications for developing novel adjuvant strategies that enhance cancer treatment efficacy. Sandra has published 2 ISI publications, submitted an additional 2, has presented nationally and internationally, has been awarded $500,000 by the University Capacity Development Funds. Sandra, félicitations. Madam Vice Principal, I request that you confer the degree.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Hafisa Parker, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy, submitting a thesis titled Proteomic Characterization of Processed Extracellular Matrix Scaffolds for Wound Healing, prepared under my supervision and with Professor Vanessa Steenkamp as co-supervisor. In her thesis, the candidate prepared and then investigated the wound healing effects of acellular dermal scaffolds, and these were produced from porcine skin using a self-developed and optimized sequence of decellularization methods. These acellular dermal scaffolds were initially tested in vitro to assess whether the biological extracellular matrix functions were retained and that they were still suitable for wound-filling matrices. After confirmation of these characteristics by histological and proteomic assays, the prepared acellular dermal scaffolds were tested in vivo using the well-described porcine full-skin thickness wound model. Acellular dermal scaffolds were implanted into second intention wounds with and without autologous platelet-rich plasma and compared to standard treatment controls. Biopsies of wounds collected over the 16-day healing time and analyzed using histological and advanced proteomic methods indicated slightly accelerated healing progression with earlier initiation of the defined healing processes for the wounds treated with acellular dermal scaffold. This optimized acellular dermal scaffold could provide a cheaper and more accessible alternative to skin grafting in wound treatment. Madam Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Taryn Radomski, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Investigating the Mechanisms by which the Pharmacological Chaperone, LHR-CHAP, affects processing and localization of luteinizing hormone receptor variants, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Ross Anderson, Dr. Andrea Ellero, and Dr. Ereshin Govender as co-supervisors. In her thesis, the candidate explored how cellular quality control systems process luteinizing hormone receptor variants implicated in reproductive dysfunction, and whether this may affect therapeutic response. Transcriptomic and proteomic analyses revealed that expression of variant receptors does not activate the unfolded protein response or alter expression of cellular stress pathways, regardless of the receptor expression profile. Treatment with the pharmacological chaperone therapeutic also did not alter the expression or activation of these processes. These findings challenge the current assumption that the unfolded protein response is central to variant processing and led to the generation of a revised hypothesis that variant-specific protein interactions may instead underpin the differences in variant expression and pharmacological chaperone therapeutic responsiveness. A method was developed to enable identification of such interactions and provide future insight into the mechanisms underlying variability in variant receptor expression and therefore disease severity and therapeutic response. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Medicine in Anesthesiology. Komotso Mabelane. Master of Medicine in Anatomical Pathology, Sikwela Masenya. Master of Medicine in Emergency Medicine, Mahlako Nkadimeng. Master of Medicine in Forensic Pathology, Siduma Mabuche. Master of Medicine in Neurosurgery, Florian Flurmers. Master of Medicine in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Cheryl Mayile. Dennis Maluleke. Master of Medicine in Otorhinolaryngology, Mavina Naidu. Master of Medicine in Orthopedics, Fano Nelumondo. Sbusiso Nzimande. Master of Medicine in Pediatrics, Natasha Devugele. Khatliso Mahlako. Matsiye Manamela. Tawanelo Sikoto. Master of Medicine in Psychiatry, Moimeleli Magwabeni. Nomthandazo Zola. Master of Medicine in Radiation Oncology, Obakenkale with distinction. Master of Medicine in Radiological Diagnostics, Natasha Naidu. Master of Medicine in Urology, Welemaza Vabaza. Master of Science specializing in anatomy, Matsidiso Mjali with distinction. Master of Science specializing in human physiology, Domain Holton. Jacobus Skippers. Master of Science specializing in medical immunology, Atlehang Letiri. Master of Science specializing in medical microbiology, Mokawane Mohlomanyane with distinction. Egan Mulondo. Jennifer Potgieter. Master of Science specializing in medical oncology, Olalekan Fedebi. Linomta Gabada. Ramadimeja Mpatlele. Amatle Njalambisa. Amatle Njalambisa. Thanks, Emma. Master of Science specializing in medical virology, Sasha Knack, with distinction. Master of Science specializing in pharmacology, Darren Chetty, with distinction. Princess Ijeoma. Brittany Lurie. Master of Science specializing in sports medicine, Ntabiseng Maisela. Master of Science specializing in sports science, Michaela Groenewald, with distinction. And Master of Science in orthopedics, Moleboheng Pule. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science Honours in Chemical Pathology, Mandlenkosi Zulu. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, Litlogonolo Cheu. Yuan Kutia. Njabulo Dlamini. Pumeza Gonji. Lezay Gous. Clara Hatting. Sipesihle Slongwane. Tato Kotsa. Ntando Kumalo. Constance Kirunda. Dennis Lesufi. Bryn Mahumani. Atingahangwi Nancy Mamba. Ahishia Marai. Sisi Pomdlukolo. Kagiso Morero. Peter Junior Moses. Lerato Mudau. Mashudu Mulanga Puma. Latani Ntambeleni. Nobuhle Pitse. Towane Puduhudu. Tebucho Putudzo. Siyabonga Khatebe. Sohail Salikram. Carmen Strauss. Sona Thomas. Mega van der Nest. Nomathemba Zita. Madam Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates from the School of Healthcare Sciences.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Ebenezer Richmond Addo, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled A Mixed Method Study of the Development of an Interprofessional Rehabilitation Program for Managing Patients with Osteoarthritis in Ghana, prepared under my supervision with Dr. Koti as co-supervisor. In the thesis, the candidate utilized a convergent parallel mixed method design to engage healthcare professionals and stakeholders from various disciplines in collaboratively co-creating a context-specific interprofessional rehabilitation model. The findings identified gaps in collaborative care and highlighted the importance of team-based intervention in improving patient outcomes. The resulting program integrates physiotherapy, medical, and psychosocial approaches to promoting holistic patient care. The study contributes to the field of rehabilitation sciences and health policy by proposing a scalable model applicable to low and middle-income countries. In addition, the study lays a foundational platform for future training initiatives and service delivery strategies that promote collaborative rehabilitation practices in Ghana and similar contexts. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate. Congratulations.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Mapefo Sophie Apan, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Development of Guidelines for Collaborative Management of Menopause Among Indigenous African Women, prepared under my supervision and Professor Mulatelo Raseso as the co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate utilized a focused ethnographic design to explore the practices that are employed by indigenous African knowledge holders, traditional and allopathic health practitioners in the management of menopause. The data revealed a range of individualized approach to alleviate menopausal symptoms, some of which have adverse effects on users. The findings underscored the need for collaborative strategies to optimize care. Consequently, evidence-informed guidelines for the early stage management of menopausal symptoms at both community and primary care levels were collaboratively developed. These guidelines aim to mitigate complications associated with later stages of menopause, address disparity in menopausal care, and promote cooperative practice among healthcare providers. The proposed guidelines have the potential to improve quality of life, health outcomes, and longevity for menopausal women. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree to the candidate.
Turn around. I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Doris Gengachia, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled cultural intervention program for prevention of unwanted pregnancy among adolescents in Kilifi County, a cooperative inquiry approach. Prepared under my supervision, Professor Nombulelo Sebeng, and with Professor Mavis Mulaudzi as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate conducted a study in 3 phases, including planning, reflection, and action. That data were collected through focus group discussions and the nominal group technique, and analyzed thematically. The findings identified key cultural components essential for inclusion in the intervention. That is creative expression as a source of inspiration and change, incorporating family voices through cultural echoes, honoring traditions by making life transitions, promoting cultural education through social interaction, and preserving values through cultural awareness and responsibility. The proposed intervention aims to serve as a platform for communication and education on adolescent pregnancy, potentially contributing to its prevention. The study highlights the value of culturally responsive strategies and active stakeholder engagement in designing effective interventions applicable within schools, communities, and families, thereby supporting the integration and implementation of the findings. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Chancellor, I introduce to you Nokuzola Doris Dandile, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Current Ethics Topics in Physiotherapy Curricula and Transformational Needs Informed by the Transgressions reported to the Health Professions Council of South Africa. Prepared under my supervision and that of Prof. Wedi van Staden as a co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate adopted a concurrent convergent parallel mixed method designed to answer the research question. It combined a cross-sectional analysis of transgressions reported to the Health Professions Council of South Africa, a document analysis of undergraduate physiotherapy learning material, and a semi-structured interviews for educators of ethics. Data from these sources were triangulated to inform the key recommendations. The study found that while all the South African universities that train physiotherapy addressed core ethical themes such as patient care and professionalism in alignment with HPCSA guidelines, some universities lacked sufficient focus on technology-related and social media ethics. Participants highlighted the value of integrating real case studies on ethical transgressions into curriculum to enhance the students' understanding of the real-world consequences. Additionally, some educators advocated for incorporating African ethical frameworks, particularly the Ubuntu principles, to provide a culturally grounded ethics education. The study recommends that HPCSA formalize ethics credits within its accreditation standards to ensure consistent and comprehensive ethics education nationwide. Madam Vice Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate. Congratulations.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Ntieni Teresa Juguja, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled A Conceptual Framework of School-to-Work Transition for Learners with Mild Intellectual Disability in Tshwane, Gauteng Province, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Enos Romano as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate adopted a mixed method, sequential explanatory design to develop the conceptual framework aimed at facilitating the school-to-work transition for learners with mild intellectual disability. The study followed 3 distinct phases. The first phase was a situational analysis based on a scoping review, an online survey, and focus group discussions. The second and third phases involved the construction of the conceptual framework and content validation through the use of a panel of experts. The newly developed conceptual framework promotes a strength-based, individualized approach that underscores the role of occupational therapists in the creation of inclusive pathways for successful employment. The study recommends strategic implementation of the framework to enhance job longevity and equity for youth with mild intellectual disability. The work contributes significantly to the inclusive education, vocational rehabilitation, and disability policy in South Africa. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Mr. Nchimunya Gwaba, who has complied with the requirement for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis entitled Optimizing Computed Tomography Scanning Protocol for Acute Ischemic Stroke and Transient Ischemic Attack on Patients in Zambia, a resource-efficient model for developing countries. This thesis is prepared under my co-supervision, Dr. Julius Tambura and Dr. Catherine Malebe as a supervisor. In this thesis, optimizing computed tomography scanning for ischemic attack, ischemic stroke, and transient ischemic attack patients, the candidate sought to improve diagnostic accuracy, optimize resource allocation, and ultimately improve patient outcome by creating and implementing context-specific CT scanning protocol. This study used quantitative comparative research design in both phases. The study achieved as low as reasonably achievable radiation protection principle by demonstrating increased diagnostic image contrast and capacity to detect aspect regions at a lower radiation dose index. Blood artery stenosis, plaques, thrombus burden can now be detected and quantified with this approach, which has been impossible with existing imaging method. These findings have a positive implications on low and middle income countries that face comparative difficulties in following international standards for managing acute ischemic stroke and transient ischemic attack patients. Thus, the developing countries can adopt this approach as it provides a CT scanning reference range for acute ischemic stroke and transient ischemic attack patients. Through this thesis, an evidence-based imaging protocol is made available. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Theonil Mugaba Gorora, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Duplex Ultrasound of Carotid Artery Atherosclerosis and Comparison of Related Socio-Economic Factors Among Rwandan Hypertensive Patients, Development of a Screening Tool. This was prepared under my supervision as Mabel Kekana with Prof. Zarina Lockett and Prof. Mabel Mosafili as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate conducted a multi-phase study where she used duplex ultrasound to screen patients for carotid atherosclerosis at selected sites. From a population of 338 participants, the condition was detected in 27.8%. In phase 2, a scoping review of existing carotid ultrasound protocols was conducted to identify their strengths and learning points. Among the 17 protocols identified worldwide, none originated in Africa. In phase 3, a user-friendly and context-specific screening tool was developed specifically for imaging practitioners in district hospitals. This is termed the Carotid Atherosclerosis Early Detection Guide for district hospitals in limited resource setting. 33 international experts participated in the Delphi technique for the development and validation of this tool. Through this tool, high-risk patients will promptly and accurately be identified to enable timely interventions and prevent the progression of atherosclerosis to ischemic stroke. Madam Vice Principal, I request that you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Theodora Jacqueline Ratchafola, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Development of a Psychoeducational Program to Support Family Members Living with Youth with Substance Abuse in Tshwane, Gauteng Province, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Nisingani as co-supervisor. In the first phase of the study, a qualitative design was used to explore and describe the experiences of family members of youth who abuse substances regarding the health support they need from health professionals. Through an integrative literature review, suitable psychoeducational programs were identified to facilitate family member support when living with youth who abuse substances. The second phase, a nominal group technique, was conducted with healthcare professionals experienced in substance use programs. The findings from phase 1 and 2 and the principles of positive psychology were integrated to design and present a psychoeducational program using a logic model. The thesis proposed ways to support family members through psychological and educational interventions. Vocational and rehabilitation programs were recommended to ensure long-term recovery of youth who abuse substances. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Hildegard Strijdom, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Glycemic Load, Food Insulin Index Principles and Blood Glucose Control in Type 2 Diabetic Adults, prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Jane Muturi as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate combined the principles of the glycemic and food insulin index into personalized nutrition education for adult patients with type 2 diabetes. The candidate conducted a scoping review indicating that the food insulin index can be used in the dietary management of diabetes. A scoring sheet that can quantify adherence to nutrition education was developed and showed acceptable reliability and validity among patients with type 2 diabetes. Dietitians can use this tool to determine and quantify adherence to glycemic and food insulin index principles. The research indicates that high adherence to personalized nutrition education based on glycemic index, glycemic load, and food insulin index principles was associated with improved blood glucose control. Implementing such personalized nutrition education could aid dietitians in managing diabetes. Madam Vice Principal, I request you confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congratulations.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Adolfina Mohadi Tema, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Strategies to Enhance Nurses' Compliance with Patients' Rights in Selected Health Facilities in Capricorn District, Limpopo Province, South Africa. Prepared under my supervision and with Dr. Ravelani as a co-supervisor. In this thesis, strategies to enhance nurses' compliance with patients' rights in selected health facilities in Capricorn District, Limpopo Province, the candidate utilized a multi-method approach divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 involved conducting a scoping review. In phase 2, a qualitative, descriptive, and exploratory research design was utilized. In phase 3, the Delphi technique was used to identify and engage with human rights experts to achieve consensus on strategies for enhancing nurses' compliance with patients' rights in South African health facilities. Implementing these strategies could help foster a healthcare culture across South Africa that is more oriented towards patients' rights, ethical practices, and supportive environments for patients. The study produced 4 manuscripts. 1 has been published, and the other 3 have been submitted to various accredited journals. Madam Vice Principal,
I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Nursing in Clinical Fields of Study. Tshegofatso Chauke. Marzanei De Beer. Tshwarelo Gama. Diana Jansen with distinction. Paulina Mapote. Zizi Poma Puma. Lucia Masanga. Buitumelo Mukwena with distinction. Tukela Pasha. Master of Nursing in Nursing Education, Teresa Mfete. Neliswa Simelane with distinction. Master of Nursing in Nursing Management, Sibongile Khumalo. Megan Matevula. Jacomina Monepia. Master of Occupational Therapy, Palesa Chauke. Master of Physiotherapy, Neo Machitela. Ralda Manganye. Kiamogetswe Moneiwa. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Dietetics. Petunia Baloy. Bachelor of Occupational Therapy, Melandri Klassen. Madingaone Munama. Madam Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidates from the School of Health Systems and Public Health.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Evans Dowa, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with thesis titled Reassured Evaluation of the Bioline Hepatitis C virus, in short HCV, point of care testing for diagnosing HCV infection in primary healthcare settings in Ghana. The candidate completed the dissertation or the thesis under my supervision with Dr. Kuhlula Maluleke as co-supervisor and Dr. Evans Matebula as co-supervisor. In this thesis, the candidate conducted a diagnostic trial to evaluate Bioline HCV point-of-care test in primary healthcare facilities in Ghana. The trial was part of a multi-country study in sub-Saharan Africa. It employed multi-phase methods to assess diagnostic performance, user experience, and cost implications of the test against the available HCV test algorithms in Ghana. This study demonstrated high accuracy, usability, cost efficiency of the test that was evaluated. It highlighted its potential for implementation in Ghana health systems, as well as other similar health systems within sub-Saharan Africa. This study offered HCV point-of-care testing solution for resource-constrained settings and hard-to-reach settings. The findings support decentralization of HCV testing, improving early detection, and it aligns with the World Health Organization's hepatitis elimination goal for 2030 and a broader agenda of democratization of diagnostics. The thesis produced 6 publications, and 4 of them are fully published. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Funzani Takalani, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled Asthma Prevalence, Control Respiratory Symptoms, and Associated Health Risk Factors amongst 13 to 14-year-old school children living in the Vembe District, South Africa, which was prepared under my supervision and with Professor Sean Patrick and Professor Joyce Shirinde as co-supervisors. In this thesis, the candidate investigated the prevalence of childhood asthma and the contributing indoor air risk factors amongst 13 to 14-year-old school children which were living in the Vembe district. where pesticides are used for malaria control. The candidate evaluated asthma control and monitored lung function indices in a subsampled panel study for further assess individual level respiratory health dynamics. The findings of this study provide evidence that various sources of air pollution are risk factors associated with asthma and impaired respiratory health in the Vembe district. Furthermore, exposure to indoor air pollution was found to affect lung function negatively. This study contributes to a better understanding of the air pollution sources impacting the respiratory system, and it adds to baseline studies for policy interventions and the future research on air pollution exposure and respiratory diseases. An unresearched area that became obvious during this study is the influence of the African traditional methods in the disease management. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
Thank you. I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate.
Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Public Health: Natash Chitwa, Megan Day van Heerden, Cebile Hlophe, Musa Litielo with distinction, Tibajo Maja, Sesetu Mangai, Lebogang Molise, Pumla Ngakamba, Sibulelo Sebelwane, Master of Science specializing in epidemiology and biostatistics, Sibusiso Mchunu, Postgraduate Diploma in Occupational Medicine and Health, Sarah Molefu Tambachale, Godfrey Paco,
Apologies, names means a lot to me. If I do not get it right despite my practice, forgive me. Postgraduate Diploma in Public Health, Noma Aaron. Pereni Tinotenda, Beverly Bell, Bongiwe Biela, Jabulile Chakale, Hector Chauke, Fauzia Chewa, Odette Daniel, Nonkululeko Dinga with distinction, Nomzamo Dladla, Petsile Glamin with distinction, Chelsea Dubé, Tanzazwa Faku, Terisha Govenda with distinction, Tembale to Gwebushe, Nonsikelelo Amka, Kuleka Klabisa, Nolutando Klubi, Nikki Klongwani with distinction, Mandy Clark Jacob, Donnell Jasper with distinction, Zuki Swa Jikwana, Khatler Khomo, Keniso Kumalo, Samukilisiwe Kumalo. Tebo Khubedi with distinction. Petronella Kokota. Ian Kolanga. Desiree Lefpan with distinction. Patricia Linda. Sipidile Lubisi. Kasiswa Ludwaba. Amukelani Mabasa. Lalamile Mabe. Koleka Mabongo. Sabat Mabunda with distinction. Mapeledi Maisela. Linduwe Matlangu Mosflueni. Dengo Majuda with distinction. Tembeka Makaya. Mina Maluleka with distinction. Matlats Mampur with distinction. Mudumela Mampur. Esther Make. Andile Mapumeulo. Bodutu Morobela. Nopinki Musebeni with distinction. Kiabetswe Mashigo. Zamandulo Masilela Mchabi. Lekwa Matabola. Matomeng Matete with distinction. Elamantosi. Geli Matlejwan. Mapodi Mathieu. Leletu Matruweni. Anyaka Mawulani with distinction. Maureen Mazibuko. Ntombi Zodwa Mazibuko with distinction. Kanyisile Mbebe. Nomalanga Mbongwa. Pumzile Mtun. Lukhelo Ndluli. Timothy Mayer. Busisiwe Mgwamba. Kwiniso Mkwanazi. Ramatsobani Maloti. Nondukholo Nketsa. Tina Mnisi. Itabiseng Moeng. Tebogo Mojapelo. Nomsa Mukwena. Danisile Mongwe with distinction. Emelda Motlante. Busisiwe Mtweni. Sipokazi Mukari with distinction. Fulufero Mulongoni. Moadi Mutombo. Imbatleni Mavundla. Mwanjinga Mwale. Klamulo Mzamani with distinction. Happiness Mzimba with distinction. Nandi Ndaba with distinction. Can you say Nenchutukulu? Lufuno Nenchutugulu. Rotondwa Nwendani. Zwelile Nkobo. Angeline Ngidi with distinction. Riatile Ngubesi. Fani Nyenge. Mamuchabo Nkadimeng. Tokozo Nkosi. Senzo Nkosi. Teresa Nkuna. Simpiwe Nomzaza. Karabo Noyani with distinction. Sibusiso Nchangasi. Philiswa Nzama. Erasmus Nzunza. Adetola Oladeji with distinction. Kimasha Pahalad with distinction. Nonsikilelo Raokhane. Dimakato Ramachela. Puleng Ramochwana. Pumuzo Randweds. Umpo Rapayani with distinction. Anzani Richuri. Gugu Sambo with distinction. Komoto Sekwele. Fikile Shitslavani. Ifilwe Sina. Mosibulele Sobudula with distinction. Kananelo Twan with distinction. Nomaklabiso Tata. Umatemba Tubani. Nosipiwo Tisang. Let Logono Nolo. Clothing. Mbali Shabalala. Welelwa Shibab. Mpoye Chilue. Chiliu.
Yes. Thank you.
Imke van Gradenberg. Lulama Yawa. Kwanele Zondo. Samukelo Zulu. Nondumiso Zwane.
Madam Vice Principal, the supervisors will now introduce the doctoral candidate from the School of Dentistry.
Madam Vice Principal, I introduce to you Liam Robinson, who has complied with the requirements for the degree Doctor of Philosophy with a thesis titled The Immunohistochemical Profile, DNA Ploidy, and Molecular Analysis of Ameloblastic Carcinomas in a South African Sample, prepared under my supervision and with Prof. Willy van Herden as a co-supervisor. The candidate in this thesis aimed to enhance the current etiopathogenesis of this rare malignant odontogenic neoplasm using ancillary diagnostic studies. The study revealed that ameloblastic carcinomas showed significantly higher proliferative indices than their benign counterpart, ameloblastoma. Immunohistochemistry of embryonic stem cell markers showed no differences between ameloblastomas and ameloblastic carcinomas, limiting their use as diagnostic tools. DNA ploidy analysis support the diagnosis of ameloblastic carcinoma and may help distinguish challenging cases. Molecular analysis further provided new knowledge on the possible pathogenesis of ameloblastic carcinomas, including an important finding of TP53 mutations restricted to de novo cases. In conclusion, the study strengthens the literature on this rare neoplasm, improves their diagnostic criteria, and enhances the current etiopathogenesis, ultimately positively positioning future advances in targeted therapeutic approaches. Madam Vice Principal, I request you to confer the degree on the candidate.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all its associated rights and privileges on the candidate. Congrats.
Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Master of Dental Surgery, Periodontics and Oral Medicine, Lucy Masuka. Lucibilo Mukucha. Master of Science in Dentistry, Yuri Koch. Maxine Lindell. Master of Science in Dentistry, specializing in oral surgery, Nokwanda Mlocha. Nadia Pillay. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the postgraduate diploma in endodontics. Shamima Mohammed. For the postgraduate diploma in forensic odontology, Mogamat Williams. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidates have complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Dental Surgery, Megan Potgieter. Sihle Simelane. Madam Vice Principal, the following candidate has complied with all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, and he's the last candidate, John Wamba.
Can I ask all of the graduates to please rise? Let's give them a hand of applause. Thank you. I would like to ask the graduates, please stay standing. I would like to ask the graduates to turn to their family, their friends, their spouses, their children, and thank them. Thank you. Now, finally, behind me are the people that have walked a journey with you as lecturers, as supervisors. Please thank them. We've now come to the end of the proceedings. Before we close, I would like to invite all present for liquid refreshments afterwards in the marquee in front of the Rembrandt Hall. You are requested to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing until the assembly has been dissolved and the academic procession has left the auditorium. The words of the national anthem will appear on the screens. Please rise.
Yes.
By the powers vested in me, I hereby dissolve this congregation of the University of Pretoria.
Make today matter.